You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. As long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. As long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
Whoa, here we are. This is the very last Tuesday show, and I'm going to spend my time with the lovely Louisa. Hello, Louisa.
Hello, Ashley. Thank you for having me. I can't believe it's your last one. That's crazy.
Well, look, I'm still going to be doing a show. I love doing this. I love having a chat with you. And while I was setting this up, can you remember the last show you did was the week before Christmas, and you were dressed as Mother Christmas or something?
It came up as a memory on my phone, actually, just last week. And I did laugh because I did dress up. I had my Santa hat on, and I thought I won't do it now. It's too early in the year. So.
Oh, blimey. You'd have been cancelled if you'd have come on dressed as Santa today, Louisa. So welcome to the show. This is live and linking. We will be moving to Monday, so if you want to join live you can, but every week it's going to be a podcast, and I'm going to be having a guest every single week. We're going to chat to them, and at the end they're going to ask me a LinkedIn question and I will answer it for them, so all live. Forgot to mention that to you, didn't I?
I hope you don't want a question today, because I don't know.
I do want a question today, please. Yeah, there's going to be a little interlude, so you can actually think of something then. But just in case someone hasn't heard about you, Louisa, who the devil are you and what do you do?
Who am I? Okay, so my name's Louisa Willcox, and I am the founder of Let's Get Wealthy, which is a financial education business. So I work with ADHD entrepreneurs and corporate companies to teach financial literacy. We're not taught at school, and it's a really important skill, especially as a business owner. If you don't know your numbers, then that's when chaos happens. But obviously, personal finances, it's so important. We're not taught these basic skills. So I teach people.
Yeah. No, brilliant. We need you.
Yes.
We really, really need you. Now, you have had quite an amazing journey, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been since we first met. We haven't actually yet met in person. That's still on the radar.
That is weird. Do you know?
And we live really close.
I promise. I'll have a shower. There's no excuse, Louisa. There is no excuse.
But I live closer to you than anyone else as well, which is crazy.
Pretty much.
It has been from when we first met to now. It has been it's been a few years, and it has been a really interesting journey. So obviously, when we first spoke, I had literally just started my bookkeeping business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is still going. So that's my first business. And obviously now I do this business, which is my financial education, my money coaching business. And I mean, in that journey, obviously my son's been through major operations as well, and my life's changed. And I think kind of as you go through this entrepreneurial journey, as you know, you kind of find your feet, and it all sort of changes along the way, and you change along the way, don't you, as well? So yeah, it's been really interesting and enjoyable as well.
Oh, it's been fantastic to watch, to see. Please don't take this the wrong way, but you were quite timid and unsure of yourself, and now look at you. I'm running another business. I'm an entrepreneur. You're just oozing confidence, absolutely oozing confidence, and it's fantastic to see, because you're now inspiring other people to go out there and do it, go and have a go. And I think because now you're helping us understand our money and making it easier for us, then that's just what we need. Because no disrespect to accountants and bookkeepers, but they don't have the time to do that for us. Mm-hmm. Because, well, what you do as a bookkeeper is incredible, because that's more than what your average accountant and bookkeeper would do. But this training is just, yeah, we need it. And Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, is a thoroughly decent guy. So you're definitely aspiring. So yes, and that's the thing, isn't it, Aaron? It's if we just put a little bit in each day, we grow, and by us growing, we're giving out those signals, and people are like, "What? Let's have a go. Let's do this."
I think so many people are scared to look at their money and their finances, and it's understanding that it's okay to not know it. And it was only, I think it was I don't know what day we're on Tuesday, aren't we? It was last week. I'm still trying to get over the summer holidays. I will just point out, today is the first day both my children have gone back to school like full time. So I'm still not over.
Hang on just a second. Hang on. Can you hear that?
Silence.
Absolutely. Isn't it golden?
I'll just wait for the dog to bark in a minute. It won't be that
Oh,
long.
right. Okay.
But last week I did a workshop in a networking event, and it was with ADHD entrepreneurs, and nearly every single person in there said that they don't look at their money, or they're afraid of looking at their situation. But I am all about creating open money conversations, because at the end of the day, it's like me coming to you and going, Ashley, and I've messaged you loads over the last few years, to be fair. I've worked with you several times, and I go, okay, how do I do this on LinkedIn? And you tell me, but we're not taught money skills at school. We're not taught how to look after our finances, and you don't know what you don't know. And it's taking away that shame and the fear around it. And it's like, it's okay to not get things right, but you've got to go somewhere and start learning now to be able to make the changes. So for me, it's going in and teaching people how to do that. And what's really exciting, and actually you saying like about my own personal growth, I don't know about you, but I find entrepreneurship a journey. It has, for me, it's being a journey. So when I first went self-employed on this journey, when I first met you, I had not long been made redundant, and my employed experience wasn't the best. So I was a very timid person, and over the last few years, it's been a journey of self-growth. And I think when you really step into something that you really enjoy and you're really passionate about, you change anyway. And I think I've probably grown up a little bit in the last few years, because I've had to put myself out there more than what I ever did being employed, because you're kind of a bit like sort of wrapped in a bit of cotton wool a little bit when you sit in an office. You go to an office, you sit there all day. When you work for yourself, you have to put yourself out there. And I've been to so many events and networking events and had to go and speak to people. Yeah, I've definitely gone out my comfort zone. But, you know, it is about, with your finances, you've got to sit there and take that first step to really understanding them. And what I was saying, what's really exciting is I've actually will just be starting to work with a company to teach young adults, so 18 and 19-year-olds, about their finances and maths and entrepreneurship as well, because it's really important skills, and they've just left school, they're not taught them, but expected to go in the real world, and then people get into severe debt and have no clue how to get out of it.
Yeah. It is shocking, really. You know, we know how to do trigonometry and algebra and what the river is in some far off country, but that's not going to help me pay my mortgage or even understand the mortgage. You know, so many people have got mortgages and don't understand what a mortgage is. Luckily, my father was into finance, and I've had a few finance type jobbies, so I've got an understanding, but probably not, definitely not to your level. But there's a great story that goes around about Richard Branson. And he was in a board meeting at Branson Towers or Virgin, whatever they call it. And the finance guy was doing some sort of presentation, and he looked at Richard and he said, "Should we just step outside a second?" And they went outside into the corridor or whatever. And he looked at Richard and he said, you haven't got a clue. He says, "No, of course I haven't." He's number dyslexic, or he's dyslexic, one or the other. And you know, he turned around and he explained it to him by drawing a boat and a net and the fish in the net. And you know, he didn't get profit, and you know, what was profit, what was turnover, and all that sort of malarkey. And if Richard Branson doesn't know, then it's no surprise that your average business owner doesn't know. And so okay. So there you are, running this amazing bookkeeping business, and you're starting doing finance and a bit of stuff. And why the transition? Why you created this new business?
Pretty much for what we've just spoken about. It was always something I wanted to do. And I think in my head, when I started the bookkeeping business, I kind of thought that I would automatically be able to help my clients with their personal finances. But as you know, probably from having your own accountant, that you don't really have those conversations. So although we'd, be doing the VAT returns, talking about their books, it never really went into those types of conversations. Because to be honest, as a business owner, you kind of want to hand over your books and carry on running your business. You're outsourcing it. You're not really, you want to know your numbers. You want to know what VAT you've got to pay. And I kind of was like, well, how can I start actually making this happen? So I decided to set a second business up and have just really pushed it. So I've got my podcast, ADHD and Money. Anyone who wants to go listen to it on most streaming platforms, just do that one. I've now launched my YouTube channel recently. Yeah, you've been on it.
No, I was just going to say all of those links are going to be in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast. So you can go and listen to those wonderful podcasts there. Sorry, carry on. YouTube channel.
I've got a new YouTube channel, which I'm still sort of building up. I'm hoping to get some sponsorship for that to really properly build it up in the future, which will be teaching financial skills because people need it, especially children and young adults again. And I've kind of just grown it into this business where people can come and work with me and actually start properly learning about their business finances and their personal finances, but not in a bookkeeping way. Because if you want a bookkeeper, you want to be outsourcing it. But I'm not saying you need to understand bookkeeping, but what you do need to understand is what is a profit and loss, and actually what cash do you have in your business that you can actually go and spend on your events and all the rest of it, and make sure you're actually paying yourself. And then with your personal finances, you need to know what your money's doing. You need to understand how much you are actually spending in your bank account and how much you've got coming in. Because I can guarantee most people know how much is coming into their bank account, but they don't have a clue how much they're spending. And it's, for me, just doing that is my passion, and I absolutely love helping people understand their money, because ultimately it's changed lives, and it really is a life-changing thing to be able to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Where should we start? So, as you know, I've got a little grandson.
Yep.
Do I start now? He's 4.
Yep.
Or do I wait until he's 10 or 20 or whatever? And so, what's the best way to start with a 4-year-old?
So I've just actually properly started with my 6-year-old, so not too much older. But I think money skills can be taught from as young as you want. There's a great book by, is it Osborne or Osborne, Managing Your Money. I don't have it next to me, actually. I've just moved it, for children. And it breaks it down really simple. You can just sit and talk to them about that. It's a really great book. But start doing money skills. Children, the basic thing then we've all done, children can do some basic chores around the house, even if it's getting them to make their bed. Give them pocket money. And what I do with my children is, say they get £5 pocket money, they will have a little book, they'll write down their £5, and then if we go to a shop and they really want something, obviously I'm going to buy them stuff myself, but if they really want something, I'll go, right, how much have you got? Okay, right, okay, you want that thing, it's £1, right, okay, where's your book? Let's put on there, spend £1. How much have you got left? £4. And it's just these little things that you can do from quite a young age. It's just getting children to think about it. And with my 11-year-old, he's just got his first debit card, which I can control on.
Debit card at 11?
Yeah, because we're in the digital world. We need to start teaching children about the realities of it. Because when you're handling cash physically, mentally, we take note of what we're spending. If I give you £100 and you go and spend £90, you're going to look and go, I've only got a tenner left. I haven't got much. If I give you a debit card, you're going to be tapping away and you won't have a clue what you've spent. And that's what it is. So what I do with my eldest son is I go, okay, you've got this much on your card. I make him write down what he's spending. So we went to Scotland at the end of summer holidays and he was writing down what he spent. But alongside that, because he's autistic, so alongside that, I have, I know it sounds funny, but like fake money. So he's then got the actual version of it. It's just plastic, but it might be he has £10, so he has a £10 note, and using the fake money we will subtract how much he's spent so he can see in physical terms how much he has left, and I can go, okay, this is actually what you've got left on your debit card, so you can see how much you're spending. This is what you have left on there. When it's gone, it's gone. So we can start these skills from a really young age, and I think it's important to.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember when I am so old that store cards were a new thing when I was growing up, just as I hit 16, 17, 18 and started to want to impress the ladies, and so went to Topshop and had some nice clothes and stuff like that. But I had a mate who was really into fashion and really wanted to look cool and smart and goodness knows what else, and he always seemed to have new clothes. And my parents have always brought me up, never a lender or borrower be. Have you ever heard of that saying?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And so really dead against debt, and always instilled on me that if like bit like you're doing with your son and the plastic money. We didn't go that far, but basically, if you're going to go in, you've got to make sure that you've got the money in your bank account to pay that bill when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people see a store card or a credit card as free money, and oh, I can have this and I can have that, and it's not coming out. And then when I get the bill, I only need to pay a £5 or a £10 or what have you. I don't need to worry about the 400, the 700, whatever it's on there. And before they know it, they've got 2 or 3 credit cards, and it's sort of like they're drowning in debt. What can you say to people to not get into that position?
It's really difficult because the banks want you to get into debt because then you're giving them money. And with what I do, we are conditioned from a very young age to live and spend and live a certain lifestyle. And unfortunately, that conditioning is very much in, I hate to say it, the government's favour. They want you to spend and get into debt because it's earning them money. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
I teach people how not to do that. So for me, I kind of feel like it's breaking the mold a little bit, coming away from that. And it is very much going to spend what you have. But the thing with credit cards is they are a really useful tool. And I'll tell you a story. When I've worked in banking from the age of 15, so finance is pretty much all I know. My granddad worked in, he was a bank manager at 19, and he's taught me how to invest from the age of like 8. So, I've only ever really known finance. But when I met my husband, bearing in mind he's 8 years older than me, so he was 30 when we started seeing each other. When we went to get a mortgage a few years later, we couldn't get a mortgage because he didn't have a credit rating, because he'd never had a credit card. So although he'd been to uni and although he lived by himself and all the rest of it, because he'd never had a credit card, he didn't have a good enough credit rating. Whereas
Wow.
I had always had a credit card because I kind of understood how it worked. So for 6 months, I had to get him a credit card and get him to spend on it and pay it off so we could then get a mortgage. Credit cards can be really useful when you spend what you have.
Yes.
So it's about realizing the money is not yours. What you need to be doing is using it. And when you use it wisely, it can be really good because you can get rewards and all the rest of it. So the way I say to my clients and to spend on it, spend on your food, spend on your fuel, the things that you already know you are going to buy, but at the end of the month, you pay it off in full. That way you're not paying the bank charges. So, and you will collect any rewards that you might have on it. Like some people get some for airlines or food shopping, all the rest of it. That's how you can use it wisely. But what will happen is as you're doing that, you'll then get a letter through going, oh, we can see, Mrs. Willcox, that you're spending really well on your credit card. We've upped your limit to £5,000. And they give you this a little bit more to tempt you. But it's putting those money skills in place and those practical things to go, actually, no, that's not how I use it, to really manage it and make sure you're not doing that. And you can call them and say, no, I want my limit to be £500, and they will change the limit. But it's really difficult because you're not taught how to look after a credit card. People are not taught what it means when you don't pay it off. They're not taught that you get charged. And it's really dangerous. And then when you go in as entrepreneurs, you can get business credit cards as well. And I mean, that's very exciting, isn't it? You can get a credit card for your business. But what happens when you overspend on it? You can't pay it off for your business. And then your business ends up liquidating. Or if you're a sole trader, you end up in the personal liability of debt. So yeah, it's a touch 22 with credit cards. They can be your best friends when you use them really, really carefully.
Yeah, I like that. APR. What do people think about that? I know all about APR, and when I see a credit card advertised on the telly or a payday loan and stuff like that, I'm thinking, wow, what are people saying about APR and stuff like that, and how does it work for those people that don't know?
Well, it's dangerous. That's the biggest thing. I mean, those payday loans shouldn't even exist. They
don't anymore, do they? Have they been outlawed?
I hope not. I don't actually look into them, actually, so I don't know, if I'm honest with you. I hope they don't, because I know so many people who got into trouble with them. They are really dangerous. Anything like that are so dangerous. And again, APR, like with credit cards, if you're not paying or you don't pay your minimum payment on your credit card, you will then get APR. You're going to then get fees on top of what you owe. Some credit cards, if you don't pay it off in full, will actually penalize you, so then you're getting charges, and that can actually be quite high sometimes. So that's where the risk of overspending happens. And it then accumulates. So if you don't pay it off, you're then getting more charges on your charges. It's a little bit like compounding reversed, sort of like instead of it being in your favor for investments, it's against you because you're getting the charges on the charges. So anyone who's looking to get a credit card, do look at the APR. So that's the interest that you're getting charged. Look at what the terms are and what the terms are on your card, so you understand your liabilities on what you're expected to do with any of that. That's your loans, your credit cards, all of it. You need to make sure you understand what that is. And if you have overspent, start doing a debt repayment plan and getting it paid down.
Yeah, that right. Explain what that is, please, because
we're going down into like a loophole here, aren't we?
Well, look. Someone today, they might be listening to this. They might have had a credit card come in today, and they've looked at that, and they've got £1,000 on that one, £1,000 on that one, and £1,000 on the other, and it's like, oh, I really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing they need to do is pick up the phone and speak to the people that have lent this money and say, look, I am struggling. What can we do? Because the bottom line is if you struggle so much, you can go bankrupt, and they're not going to get anything. And so if you talk to them, they're going to try and work it out. So explain what happens, please, Louisa.
Yeah. So with a debt repayment plan, this is where you need to actually be really, so everyone says make a budget. I don't like budget because I always think it's not a diet plan. You shouldn't be restricted with your money. I call it a conscious spending plan. And that's because you need to be consciously aware of how you're spending your money. My business is Let's Get Wealthy, because for me, it's not about being rich, and everyone goes on about rich and all the rest of it and having a 6-7 figure business. You don't have to be rich to live a wealthy, happy life. Okay. You don't need tons of money to be happy. Let's just put that out there. All right.
So I endorse that 100%.
Well, this is just it. And we do need to change how we're looking at money. So for me, within that wealthy life, it's knowing how your money's working for you, looking after yourself, because your mental and physical health is really important. And if you're building this huge business up where you're destroying your mental health, there's no point, because you're not going to see it anyway. You're not going to enjoy it. So what's the point? Okay. So part of that is being consciously aware of how you're using your money, where it's going, how much is coming in, but also incorporating in that spending plan something for you. So I like to go for a full body massage every 6 weeks. One, because I've got severe scoliosis, so it helps stop my body pain, because for me, exercising causes me pain. So, but I also I could have a back massage rather than a full body, but I like a full body. That's my treat. Okay. So that's in my spending plan. So it's a no guilt spend. That is really the first step. Really be aware of how your money is working for you. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out, because this is when you can wheedle down all of those things that you probably don't need to be spending out on. And if you have debt, this is where you have to be strict with your finances. Okay. I know it doesn't feel great, but you do have to. All right. So sometimes that could be cutting down on your Costas, your Starbucks, all the rest of it. And I'm a coffee snob. I really like my coffees, but you do need to cut down on them. They're like nearly £5 a coffee nowadays, and it does add up. I'm not saying forever, but whilst you're paying down the debt. Then when you go through that, you will start to realize how much money you probably do have, or how much money you could have. And then that money that you're saving or moving, you can put towards your debt, and actually start paying down your debt. With a debt repayment plan, that is listing out your debts like you would in your spending plan, listing it out on how much you have to pay, the APR or the interest amounts that you have on there, and what the balance is. There are two different types, or there's several different types of paying it off. The way that I normally talk to people about is the debt snowball method, where you pay off the smallest balance first. So say you've got £100 on a credit card, you pay £25 a month, okay? You've got another credit card of £500, you're paying £25 off a month. You've got a third credit card with £1,000, you're also paying £25 a month. That's the minimum payment plan that you're paying on each one. So you're not getting in trouble with your credit rating and hopefully not putting any additional charges on. When you've paid that first one of £100 off and it's gone, that £25 you were paying off on that one, you move on to the second credit card. So no longer are you paying £25 off on it, you're paying £50 off on it. And you keep paying that one off. And then when that one's gone, you move it on to the third credit card. So it's like a snowball effect of moving it down. So you're then paying it off quicker. Obviously, the more you can pay onto it, the better. So as a business owner, you've got a few choices. You try and make more sales and you pay yourself for your business. Obviously, if you're a limited business, you then have to consider your PAYE, your corporation tax, your dividend tax, all the rest of it. If you're self-employed, obviously you are still taking money. Your money's yours. It works slightly different. The other method is a debt avalanche, where you pay off the highest interest first. The reason I like the snowball method is because obviously I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are neurodiverse or have ADHD. And mentally, when you're seeing that balance go down quicker, it feels better. It's like a reward for your brain because you're seeing it go down quicker. So I do think the snowball method mentally is much nicer to manage. Whereas the debt avalanche method, generally, you're looking at the one of the highest interest, which is generally your largest balance. Not for all, but that's generally the way it works. So you pay off the one with the largest, highest interest first and the quickest, because obviously then you're not accumulating more APR.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And you do the same thing. So it takes time. But I mean, it depends. You know, last year I worked with an entrepreneur who called me because she was in so much debt. She had bailiffs knocking at her door. And she literally had no idea what to do. She was a really successful entrepreneur, but just got in a pickle. She hadn't been taught money skills. Things were really, really hard. And we sat down, we phoned the companies, we explained, we sent all the letters out that needed to be sent, saying, look, we need a payment plan. We need to get it all sorted. And it was only, I think it was just before Christmas, she sent me a text and said, you've completely changed my life. I've just been to the opticians and I've been able to buy my first pair of Gucci glasses outright for the first time in 6 years.
Wow.
And she's pretty much debt free now. And that was, you know, that's the power of actually understanding it, taking control and starting to pay it off. Perfect. Yes, create a plan.
Excellent. We're pretty much to the end of the show. I need a LinkedIn question. Thank you so much for joining me. But before that, I just want to give a little shout out because on Friday, I've got this brand new show that I'm doing with Victoria and Odessa. And I've created a little bit of music as well. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Victoria!
Hello!
Victoria! It's going to be a little bit mad, isn't it?
It sounds really good.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Maybe we'll have to get you back for the second series. We're only doing 12 shows, but it's going to be on a Friday. It's going to be at midday, and we're going to go on for about an hour, and we'll just chat about anything. So imagine, what's that TV show where all the ladies come in and chat and have lunch? There's that one, and there's like the sofa and stuff like that. So that's the sort of thing that we'll be doing.
It sounds really good. It's interesting. We'll be tuning into it.
Yeah, good for you. So what's your LinkedIn question, please, Louisa?
What's my LinkedIn question? Oh, this is really difficult because I feel like I throw questions at you about LinkedIn all the time.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. You know I like helping.
Oh, I don't know, Ashley. You've put me on the slot. Okay, what, in your opinion, what is the best way to actually properly utilize LinkedIn? Because obviously it's very different to the other platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Sure. So what's the best way to utilize it properly?
Oh, that is such a good question. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so if you think of LinkedIn as a networking event, all right, you've said you've been going to networking events. Now, just answer me this question. If you went to a networking event every single day, Louisa, would you get business?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much, because you're going out there, people are seeing you. All right. Do exactly the same on LinkedIn. And if you think of it like that, all right, that's all you do. You think of the last time you went to a networking meeting, you had a conversation with a few different people, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do in the comments. We go in, we have a little chat and talk to people like that. And so just think of LinkedIn like the last networking event that you went to. At your networking event, was there a speaker there?
Yeah, generally,
right.
Yeah.
So that speaker is someone writing a post. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then you chatting to everybody afterwards is you commenting in the threads of that post. And if you actually got to speak to the speaker and say, oh, that was a really great speak, and I've got this question, that's you writing a comment to the post, to the author of that post. Hey, Louisa, love your thoughts on that post. Could you tell me a little bit more about APR, please? Something like that. And that's that is the way to use LinkedIn, in my humble opinion.
I like that because it's not quite so scary as everyone going. It's really businessy and corporate and all the rest of it.
It's not. It's not. Yeah, you just need.
It's really cool.
You just need to be yourself. Like you came on today and taught us all about this money. It's a huge subject, your money and your wealth and all of that sort of stuff. So 20 minutes with me today was never going to do you justice. How can we work with you? What have you got coming up?
Well, I actually have a group program starting at the beginning of October, and that's called the Wealth Mind program, which, to be fair, I have actually advertised more on other platforms. I will put it on LinkedIn because, yes, I need to be the speaker, as you have just said, and utilize it properly. So I've got the Wealth Mind program, which is a group program for anyone wanting to actually really start taking control of their business and personal finances, because it is really important. And if you are an ADHD entrepreneur, it is designed for people who have ADHD like myself, and you can pay for it through access to work as well, which I think is great for anyone getting that. But I've got my website, which if you follow the link you've just put up, just the first bit, www.louisawillcox.co.uk, it will take you to my website, and I've got a few different ways for people to work with me and contact me, or drop me a message. I'm quite happy to have a chat.
Fantastic. Louisa, you've been absolutely delightful. Thank you to everybody for listening to my show on a Tuesday. We will be back in a Monday in a few weeks' time, but we'll see you on Friday. Louisa, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Cheerio, everybody. Bye-bye.
You get out what you put in.